Hello subscribers and non-subscribers, and welcome back to ChäoS. It has been a little while because I was not able to upload this last week because the Friday before that I had to do a fresh install of Windows and I hadn't gotten around to reinstalling ChäoS by then. But now that I have it installed, I have my saves plopped into where they need to be, we can go ahead and continue on. So let me go ahead and start my timer. And let's go ahead and load up the save that we need. The moment I said it, Nanami pursed her lips. What the hell did we say? Out of curiosity. If I can find it. I don't know. You'll just have to watch the episode before this because I actually don't even know what's going on anymore. Nanami glared at me fixedly. Her shoulders tensed with anger. At last her eyes started to well up. Yelling in a voice that resounded piercingly through the room, Nanami grabbed her bag and bolted out with tremendous energy. That storm-like time had finally come to an end. Hanging out with Nanami always wore me out. Why did she come here every week when it rubbed me the wrong way so much? Becoming a bit observant, will ya? And apparently we were very close to the end.
G レートの上昇率は当初の予測からわずかな誤差があった程度です。
バイオリズムコントロールも順調なのかね。
渋谷の G レートは他のエリアと比べて高い値を持っていると同時に安定性についても特筆したものがあります。
それゆえに意図的に操作しやすいということか。そして渋谷にいる人々のバイオリズムを急激に引き上げることも。
実験結果についてはレポートをご参照ください。納得していただける成果を上げております。
貴様が成果を出すのは当然だ。そのために高い金と多くの人材を提供しているのだからな。
実効性については理解している。この数ヶ月だけでも我が会の信者が数倍に膨れ上がっているからね。
それではプロジェクトノアは次の段階へと進ませます。よろしいですね。
コードサンプルの件はどうするのだ。すでに3人分は確保したとはいえ、目標数値には達しておらんではないか。
いかにも。数値達成のためには最低でも5人分はなければ厳しい。
サンプル保持者は集まりつつあります。あとは採取する。
ならばその件は任せる。
信仰の救いあり。くれぐれも慎重にことを進めるよ
う。はい、心得ております。
Okay, no idea what was really going on there. But I'm sure it has absolutely nothing to do with us whatsoever. It was 5 in the morning when I checked my PC clock, biting back a yawn. Today, too, I'd spent ages hunting an Ensu, but no monsters had dropped the rare item I'd been looking for. No success, even after pulling an 8-hour marathon. Well, but this kind of thing happened a lot. I glanced quickly at the side of my desk. There leaned the D sword I'd bought yesterday. I left it close enough that I could take it up at any time. On a side note, this sword didn't radiate any light whatsoever. I was hoping that, sooner or later, it would metamorphosize into one with as cool a shape as Senna's, but inside my monitor, Grimm's avatar happened to be right in the middle of leveling up. My Nightheart had reached the maximum level, so he wouldn't go any higher. Rubbing my sleepy eyes, I thought to myself that maybe it was getting to be time for me to create my next character, the third after Lieselot. Experience points, huh? It was a familiar concept in RPGs, but I felt experience points also existed in real life. When I first started Ensu, even I was a baby who didn't know right from left, but now I was the strongest in Basiland, with my name Lightning Fast Nightheart known everywhere, or anywhere. For example, it wasn't unthinkable that the person behind me might, by some chance, happen to lose some of the experience points he'd built up. Then maybe it would be all too natural for me to forget things I'd known. Maybe the fuzziness in my memories could be traced back to the same source. And then there was Shogun and the Demon Girl. Before my experience points got cleared, perhaps it had been perfectly normal for me, the person behind me, to post under the handle of Shogun in chats and to spend time in real life with the Demon Girl, with Rimi. No, that was certainly improbable. But in the past, I might have possessed the power capable of letting me square off with that Demon Girl. Was I the only person who had thoughts like this? Although I also felt like it wasn't a particularly strange or mysterious way of thinking, because the only thing human beings have to go by are the fundamental standards they've come up with all on their own. Maybe even now not just me, but everyone in the whole world was judging everything wrong while living out my day-to-day life. When I was little and went to the dentist, he told me, "You're a good boy for putting up with so much pain." At the time, it made me think I was kind of amazing for enduring the pain all the way through, and I simply became proud of myself. Thinking back on it now, however, that comment had probably been based on judging the degree of pain by the relative progression of the cavity. But even with the exact same level of pain, there might be people who could bear it and people who couldn't. In other words, I suspected that people might be utterly different in how they recognized and experienced such sensations. Take giving birth, for instance. Online, I'd often seen people saying that though women are able to hold out through the pain of labor, it would be inherently impossible for men. Take marathon runners, for instance. Maybe they excel not because of the power of their bodies, but instead because of their ability to endure pain. Take sadists and masochists, for instance. If there are people who enjoy hurting others, and there are also those who feel pleasure when others hurt them. In short, I figured that the way people felt things and the strength of their inner nature, their ability to put up with it, varied from person to person. Perhaps the level of pain and the toothaches and headaches I endured from time to time far surpassed the range of pain an ordinary person could take, and if I passed the same level of pain on to someone else, the agony of it would make them go into shock and die. The conclusion this led to was the selfish delusion that maybe I was a very special type of human being. Though I'd rejected that idea, surely everyone had these kinds of delusions. Every man longs to be the strongest in the world. Everyone wants to think they're special, that they've been chosen. They want to think a dramatic, stormy life, like in TV shows and movies, is awaiting them in the future. It was the so-called yearning to be a hero. To put it more crudely, being self-centered. Of course I, too, had those kinds of desires. Indeed, it might be my destiny to defeat the Demon Girl. But then, if I were told to carry that out in real life, I'd require that a number of conditions be met first. At least, the one thing I really needed was the ability to use cheat codes, for stuff like secret attacks, or perhaps invincible mode. I didn't want to undergo any pain or fear. If I couldn't do that, if, in other words, I was supposed to do it with my own power, I definitely wouldn't. Which is why, if the person behind me accidentally let my experience points get wiped, it could cause me tremendous damage. Today I got to school just in time not to be late. I guess it was indeed unreasonable to play online games till morning on a day when I had school. I wouldn't have made it if I hadn't run. When I collected why? When I reached the front of my classroom, I breathed deeply to collect myself. I mustn't do anything to draw my classmates' attention. For me, coming late would be a fatal mistake. My life would implode as soon as some juvie set his eyes on me. I eased my way into the classroom. My face was lowered. I mustn't lock eyes with anyone. Of course, I didn't give them any kind of thoughtless greetings like good morning. I turned myself into air so as to make the others pick up on my existence as little as possible and headed for my seat. I always did things the same way. And today as well, I made it to my seat without encountering any problems and lowered myself into it. I soon plastered myself flat against my desk. At this rate, I'd be safe until homeroom started, but I only relaxed for a breath until someone tapped me lightly on the back. Oh, 1 second. Misumi again. Though I was kind of sick of him, I'd feel bad ignoring him, so I started to raise my head and hesitated. Was this Misumi? The real one? The day before yesterday, I'd done as Demon Girl told me and called him. At the time, he'd acted undeniably strange. To begin with, he'd answered by saying that the Demon Girl was our classmate, as if this were perfectly normal, even though I knew it wasn't so. Maybe the Demon Girl had brainwashed the current Misumi. On the contrary, there was also the possibility that she'd switched him with someone else. An electronic sound suddenly rang through the classroom. I sensed a faint vibration near my chest. It was my cell phone. Shit, now of all times. What kind of idiot would call at a time like this? On top of that, even though I was sure I'd set it to vibrate, the ringtone was ringing at the same time. I might have messed up the settings. I know that much. Should I hurry up and answer it? But if I did, Misumi would know I'd only been pretending to sleep. Besides, I don't like talking on the phone. Except, if I didn't pick it up, it would bother the rest of the class. Judging by how my ringtone was reverberating through the classroom right now, things were pretty damn bad. I wasn't supposed to stand out. This was incredibly bad. Shit. While I wavered over what to do, I'd completely lost my chance. I couldn't move. Just then, the sound and vibration died down. It must have switched to voicemail. I let out a relieved breath in such a way as to keep Misumi from catching me at it. I've been right to learn how to use voicemail. Damn it, you're so noisy. Please don't do anything more to interfere with me, because that phone call already made me stand out much more than I should have. Had Misumi always been this persistent? Though his forwardness remained the same, I felt like he'd been a little more sensitive in the past. I heard that voice from close by Misumi. She was in this classroom as though it were natural for her to be here. She was chatting away as though it were natural for her to do so. She was blending in as though it were natural for her to belong with us. I was too horrified to raise my head. I didn't want to acknowledge the fact that she was here.
ま、別にお前に優しくしてもらわなくても、俺には優しくしてくれる女がたくさんいるんだよ。
だからそういう発言が良くないんだってば。彼女さんに聞いたらおよ。今の第一の彼女が誰だかわかんないけど。ほら、チャイム鳴った。先生来るよ。
I didn't hear anything to indicate that the bell rang. Had the demon girl truly been my classmate from the beginning? No, that was impossible. 2 days ago, she hadn't been here. At least, the only person who'd come to talk to me that day was Misumi. Yesterday, I hadn't come to school. And today, she was here. How? Had she wormed her way in? When the chime signaling the start of homeroom rang, everyone took their own seats. Sensing this, I gingerly raised my head. I surveyed my surroundings with my eyes alone. I wanted the voice from earlier to have been an illusion. To prove that to myself, I had to make sure that girl wasn't anywhere in this classroom. I didn't see her. I didn't see that girl's form anywhere. Had she been a hallucination after all? My seat was in the 5th row from the front. There were 9 rows in total. She wasn't in any of the rows in front of me, which meant behind me. But I couldn't turn around. I couldn't do something so likely to catch others' attention. Shit. I felt incredibly fidgety. Was she really in here or not? My neck muscles weren't prickling. No one was looking at me. I didn't feel a gaze. Was she? Wasn't she? Which one? Staring steadily down at the top of my desk, I attempted to search out that girl's existence by her presence alone. Right then, I heard the sound of our homeroom teacher entering the classroom. I'd forgotten his name. I had the feeling that it'd be something like Sukaji or Sukata. He was a PE teacher who graduated from a PE college, a total musclehead, but he wasn't hot-blooded and didn't use corporal punishment. If I had to put it one way or the other, I'd say he was the type to get a joke. For some reason, the class started going into a commotion. But at the moment, my attention was completely occupied by seeking out the demon girl. Like I could possibly detect her through her presence alone. This wasn't a manga? Was I a fool or what? The teacher muttered. I see. That was the reason there'd been a fuss. I haven't heard the transfer student speak. Was there really someone there? I cast a look at the teacher's podium. There was someone there. No doubt about it. She was remarkably small, maybe even more of a runt than Nanami. She was the moe type who looked a little timid and gave off an aura of having been bullied. I'd say she reached the so-so level for a 3D girl. For some reason, she was facing down, and the corners of her eyes were full of tears. My classmates' commotion increased in response to the fact that she wasn't trying to say anything. Our teacher patted her on the shoulder considerately. Or considerately. Without saying a single word, the transfer student bowed her head and began walking my way. Her seat was 4 rows behind mine. I wondered if I should pretend to watch the transfer student walk to the back in order to check the faces of the people in the rows behind me. But that itself would be fairly attention-grabbing behavior. There was also the dread that the delinquents might pick a meaningless fight with me, saying, "Don't start drooling over the transfer student just because you think she's cute." What should I do? Should I turn around, or would it be better to wait until homeroom ended? I hung my head and clenched my fists. It was no good. I didn't have the guts to do it. What if I turned around and my eyes met that girl's? The thought of it made me shudder. Her voice, undoubtedly, had reached my ears. The transfer student passed close by my desk. Before I knew it, I'd unconsciously raised my face. The transfer student paused beside my desk for the barest of seconds, but she didn't turn toward me. That was all. The transfer student soon retreated further and further away from my seat. Had she been speaking to me? Why had she started talking to me all of a sudden? I resembled her? Well, she was glad we were in the same class? Had we met once before? No, I had absolutely no recollection of her face. Unlike in certain Eroge, I didn't have a childhood friend I'd played together with in the distant past. Was I becoming popular with girls after all? Or else, was that transfer student too one of the demon girl's subordinates? If so, the dragnet had tightened around me yet again. I was in the midst of running out of places to flee to. Homeroom came to a sudden end while I thought frantically about the doubts that had arisen in my head. There were about 5 minutes until the first period class started, and give me one moment, guys. I need to go and do something. Okay, sorry about that. Let me go ahead and restart my timer. Got about 9 minutes left according to my timer, though the episode may go a little bit longer or potentially a little bit shorter depending on how soon we reach sort of the next ending point for a chapter. And I'm fairly certain I read this, so on the off chance that I didn't, just pause the video. Masumi was charging toward the transfer student's seat. It looked like he meant to start hitting on her out of left field. My other classmates had also seemed deeply interested in her, and the classroom had grown more wild and boisterous than usual. At a glance, it appeared to be a nonchalant, peaceful... tableau? I've got no idea. But to me, it was virtually the same as being behind enemy lines. My heartbeat wouldn't calm down, my whole body was tense, and it took enormous courage for me to move even a single finger. My impulse to turn around warred with my reason, which told me I mustn't. I almost stopped breathing. The inside of my head went pure white. I heard her voice from close behind me. She really was here. She existed in this place. Run. You've got to run. No matter how I thought it, my legs were trembling and it didn't seem like I'd be able to stand up well. While I stayed frozen, the demon girl, Sakihata Rimi, circled around in front of my desk. In the same way as 2 days ago, she spoke to me as though she were worried for me. In the same way as 2 days ago, she held out a handkerchief with a soft floral scent to it. Instead of accepting it, I hastily wiped my sweat with my hand. I couldn't meet her eyes, though I could tell from the tone of her voice that she was smiling. Rimi crouched in place, so her eyes were on the same level as mine, and propped her chin up on her hands. She took a peek at my face. I desperately averted my eyes. Damn it! She seemed determined not to let me escape. My anxiety threatened to tear open my heart. Somebody save me. What was she talking about? Who had said what to me? I get the feeling we're about to get choices. Rimi was still smiling, but was it my imagination that her voice had started shifting into more of a demanding tone? Like she was interrogating me?
タコってリアルの女の子に興味ないんじゃなかったっけ？もしかして本当は興味あるの？
What do you plan to do after asking that? Did she mean to pump me for personal information and then abuse it? To begin by stating the conclusion, I'm not interested in 3D girls. I always said that sourly.
じゃあさ、私にも実は興味あったりする？
A chill ran down my back. Though I just wiped it, fresh sweat sprang up on my forehead. Had that been advance notice that she would kill me? Or was the demon girl inviting me to become her comrade? Or else, did she intend to seduce me and trap me by acting moe? And the danger signals rang on and on in my head. Don't talk with the demon girl any longer, otherwise she'll destroy me. I was frantic. I managed to stand up hastily and dash out of the classroom, running into other people's desks here and there along the way. I ran up the stairs without looking to either side and came out on the empty roof. It looked as though she hadn't chased me. Even so, I couldn't let myself feel relieved yet, and so I hugged my knees and hid for some time in the shadows. My knees were trembling. I couldn't believe I'd succeeded in running in this condition. It showed how desperate I'd been. I was sick of this reality. The D-sword I'd gone out of my way to buy had it been useful in any capacity. I certainly couldn't bring it to school, not with how much I'd stand out here. She'd caught me off guard. 2 days ago, when I heard from Misumi that Rimi was our classmate, I'd figured that he'd either been making it up on the spot or had merely been imagining things. But she had really become my classmate. It would almost definitely prove useless to ponder how she had managed to slip in. Because she was a demon. She could easily do things of which humans were incapable. Maybe she had brainwashed my whole class. No. Maybe even all the teachers at school. I couldn't go to the hospital anymore, and now couldn't go to school. Yua was at Cafe, and Shogun appeared online. She and her underlings were clearly venturing closer and closer to me, and they were constantly launching psychological attacks at me. Maybe it would be better to stop leaving my base. Reality was too full of danger and enemies. They stirred me up and threatened my peaceful lifestyle, and all I wanted to do was live quietly. I gazed up at the blue sky, which floated there carelessly as the wind blew white clouds across it. It would be so wonderful if I could become one of those clouds. Three hours passed. The whole time, I'd stayed curled up in the same place, unmoving. For now, I didn't sense anyone else coming up. Here, I had at last been freed from my strain. The problem was, what came after this? During break, students would, without doubt, come up here to eat their lunches. That was why making a break for it in the middle of fourth period and returning to my base at top speed was the best option. I'd messed up my minimum attendance shift chart, but I possessed not a trace of the courage needed to return to the classroom where the demon girl lay in wait. I decided not to worry about the fact that I'd left my bag in the classroom. Whatever the case, all I had in there were textbooks. My wallet, my key, and everything else important would be in my uniform's pockets. Probably. Growing uneasy, I searched through my pockets. Wallet, key, cell phone. They were all where they should be. That was when I remembered that someone had called me. I'd been pretty frantic at the time, though not as much as when Rimi talked to me. I couldn't think of anyone who would call me besides my family. Nanami seemed like the most probable. She didn't think about whether she might end up causing me trouble. The other people who knew this number were... come to think of it, I told it to those detectives. If it had been one of them, I should probably have answered. And anyway, all that talk about sending officers to my base had ended up going unsettled. The caller's phone number was displayed on the LCD screen. It appeared not to be Nanami. When I looked more closely, I saw that I had a new voicemail. I had the vague feeling that I might, or might not, have seen this number before. Just in case, I checked the history of the calls. Only 5 calls were displayed here. I think we went green before, let's go red. What's the worst that could happen? In other words, since the time when I first bought this cell phone, only these 5 calls had reached it. Plus, 3 of them were from Nanami. Now, as for the remaining 2, the one from a little earlier and the one from 5 days before were displayed as numbers instead of names, since they hadn't been recorded in my address book. It was the same number, 03X733X991. Interesting that you apparently get to have letters here. I assuming that's really more of just they were trying to block some of the numbers for whatever reason. But, yeah, because I doubt anywhere in the world you're able to actually have letters in your phone number. Hence why, well, for one thing, it's called a phone number. And the timer just went off. But we're going to continue just a little bit longer. If they hadn't bothered to leave a message, it might be someone who very much wanted to convey something to me. Or if they'd bothered to leave a message. For now, I might as well listen to it. Okay, we're going to go and end this here. Okay. Well, that's going to be it for this episode. As always, like, comment, subscribe, share, and I will see you guys next time. But until then, goodbye and farewell.